Today, we are strapping in for a high-speed journey straight into the absolute wild extremes of aviation engineering. We're going to be looking at the giant ghosts of the skies. The biggest, most audacious aircraft ever designed during the Cold War and the commercial jet age. Machines that, incredibly, never actually made it off the drawing board. Okay, let's dive into this. Our source material today breaks down 40 unbelievable never-built aircraft concepts. But for our purposes here, we're filtering out the noise. We are focusing strictly on the absolute most mind-bending mega machines. We're talking about designs that literally challenge our very understanding of physics and engineering. I mean, what exactly happens when aerospace giants try to merge a submarine with a nuclear bomber, or try to fit an entire military base into the clouds? These aren't just failed blueprints, right? They represent the absolute outer limits of human ambition, and honestly, a whole lot of Cold War paranoia.
Let's start with Section 1, Wild Tactical Military Experiments. So before we get to the giant flying cities, and trust me, we will get there, we really have to set the stage with some bizarre, yet completely plausible tactical concepts. Take the Bell X-22, for example. Designed as the ultimate 1990s hybrid, this was essentially a helicopter plane, boasting 4 ducted fans that allowed it to take off completely vertically. It was built to carry 8 passengers and was dubbed the absolute perfect blend of both a helicopter and an airplane. The military saw massive potential here. Think about it. Under heavy fire, this vertical takeoff and landing aircraft could have fundamentally changed Navy operations and Marine deployments forever. And on the civilian side? Well, its compact, stable flight design could have completely revolutionized how everyday people commute. But hey, if you think a flying car is wild, take a look at the Convair's submersible seaplane. Yes, this was a 3-engine aircraft that looked like something straight out of a Tintin comic book, and it did exactly what its name suggests. It actually had the ability to land on the water, sink right below the waves, and actively hunt its prey. And by prey, I mean nuclear-armed submarines. In the incredibly high stakes of the Cold War, this bizarre aquatic plane was genuinely viewed as a simple strategic solution to counter mutually assured destruction. Absolutely wild.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Supersonic Spy Race. Now, as the geopolitical climate heated up, engineers had to escalate from those localized tactical oddities into the highly classified realm of high-stakes, high-speed espionage. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is pitting a legend against a ghost. Everyone knows the famous SR-71 Blackbird, right? But very few people know about its unbuilt, vastly superior rival, the Convair Kingfish. This thing was a spy plane designed to fly at an unbelievable Mach 3.2, cruising way up at over 90,000 feet. At 73 feet long, it was literally designed to fly faster and higher than the Blackbird, outrunning pretty much anything thrown its way. The kicker, though, it wasn't just for surveillance. It was theoretically capable of deploying supersonic nuclear weapons, making it a truly terrifying piece of vaporware. And the rumors around these projects traveled even faster than Mach 3. Take the Aurora. This was a rumored spy plane said to fly at a blistering Mach 6 high above the Earth, leaving behind these distinctive donut-shaped contrail rings. The catch here? It supposedly relied on a completely new type of engine technology that officially does not exist. And while many people claim to have witnessed it firsthand, our source material makes a point of noting that the CIA remains completely tight-lipped. To this day, the Aurora exists as one of aviation's most enticing mysteries. Capping off this intense era of Cold War spy paranoia is this frankly terrifying hybrid, the Convair nuclear ramjet. Basically, if you combined a missile and a submarine, this is exactly what you'd get. This vehicle had the ability to launch, smash right past the sound barrier, deliver its nuclear payload, and then actually return back below the ocean surface to hide out until its next strike. It's a chilling reminder of the extreme lengths engineers went to during this era. On to Section 3, Supersizing Commercial Aviation. So, moving away from all that military secrecy, the commercial heavyweights were all swinging for the fences in a massive race to build double-deckers that could beat the Airbus A380. McDonnell Douglas designed their own huge double-decker called the MD-12. It was incredibly ahead of its time, actually, but ultimately became what you could call a deck too far, as the market shifted towards smaller jets and it got scrapped right before the company merged with Boeing. Then you have the Boeing 747X, which planned to extend that iconic 747 hump all the way to the rear of the aircraft, fitting nearly 1,000 passengers. But the most absurd one? That might just be the Lockheed concept.
Developed before the A380, this double-decker was so massive, so incredibly fat, that it would have required the combined manufacturing might of Lockheed, Boeing, and Airbus coming together just to build a single plane. 277. That is the exact number of passengers that the Boeing 2707 could carry. This was America's direct answer to the European Concorde. It was designed to fly further and much faster than its European counterpart, accommodating those 277 people in pure supersonic luxury. But unfortunately for American aviation fans, the technology required was simply beyond the pocketbook of the United States at the time. So this highly superior aircraft was completely scrapped before it ever even reached the prototype phase. During this time, it seemed like no idea was too big or, honestly, too weird. Case in point, a proposed passenger version of the massive C-5 Galaxy cargo plane. The idea here was to take a giant military hauler and just convert it for civil use. So the crucial point is, the wildest part of this design, passengers would be able to take their actual cars with them as cargo. Just imagine that, flying from New York to London and parking your sedan in the belly of the plane downstairs. Ultimately, of course, it never saw the light of day, and the C-5 remained strictly military.
Section 4. Space Planes and Flying Leviathans. Now escalating from massive commercial haulers straight into the realm of absolute sci-fi behemoths. Consider the terrifying dread of the era encapsulated in this single concept. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about. A modified Boeing 747 designed to carry not one, but 6 intercontinental ballistic missiles inside its fuselage and launch them from the air whilst in flight. It perfectly and quite terrifyingly reflects the intense paranoia of mutually assured destruction. Thankfully, this terrible weapon of war was never actually developed, but it absolutely showcases the sheer lifting power of the 747 platform. Sequence that right next to the American Eckermann plan. This was developed as a strategic nuclear weapon platform, capable of moving over water at incredible speeds. By skipping just above the waves, it could sneak up to remote locations completely stealthily before launching a nuclear payload. Rising above the water like a ghost, it was literally designed to bring terror to an enemy who wouldn't even be able to find it on conventional radar. But let's contrast that military dread with commercial luxury on an absolutely unprecedented scale. Thousands. Yep, thousands. That is how many passengers the Russian Tu-44 flying wing was designed to carry. This supermassive flying concept wasn't just a plane, it was practically a cruise ship in the sky. I mean, it was slated to feature onboard movie theaters, art galleries, and even full-service restaurants. It was a true flying monster. But hey, if you really want to talk about moving a lot of weight, we absolutely have to mention the Boeing Pelican. This cargo monster was designed to completely solve global logistics for the military. It was built to transport an entire army battalion across oceans in a matter of hours, rather than the months it takes by sea. The sheer scale here is staggering. It dwarfs almost everything else on our list today, built to move a whole fighting force in a single trip. And then, humanity decided the sky just wasn't big enough, so they looked beyond Earth. Enter the Star Raker, a massive spaceplane designed for weekly trips into outer space. The goal? To carry the materials needed to build 80 giant solar power plants in orbit. And not to be left out, NASA even designed their own giant shuttle bus that could carry 70 to 80 astronauts at a time to work on these orbital megastations. They were pushing scale to its absolute extraterrestrial limits. And finally, Section 5, the biggest plane never built. All of these concepts we've talked about build toward a machine that practically defies human comprehension. Meet the CL-1201. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because this wasn't just a plane. This was a flying aircraft carrier, conjured up for a world where the United States wanted to project its entire military might into the sky all at once. Breaking down the mechanics of the CL-1201 honestly feels like describing an alternate reality. Step 1. The Army version of this behemoth could carry more troops than you can count, basically a virtually limitless floating barracks. Step 2. The Air Force version was designed to actually carry smaller fighter jets, tucked underneath its massive wings, launching them directly into mid-air combat. Step 3. Rumors suggest there might have even been plans for a stealth variant to dominate the skies completely undetected. It was a sky behemoth that, had it ever taken flight, would have literally blocked out the sun. From submarine planes to aircraft that carry entire battalions and launch jets from their wings, these ghosts of aviation show just how incredibly audacious human engineering can get.
They push the boundaries of what we think is physically possible, proving that even when an idea stays on the drawing board, it completely expands our imagination. These failures, if you want to call them that, weren't just wasted paper. They paved the way for modern aerospace and taught engineers exactly what the limits of physics truly are. So which of these unbelievable concepts do you wish actually took to the skies?